Aye.
Tom? Tom, you need to unmute yourself there. You there, Tom? All right, Tom. So now how about, how does Todd respond? I see him here. Can you type in on the side?
Hello?
Yes. Is
All
that
right.
Todd?
Aye. Yep. I don't know what, you can't see me?
No, we don't need to.
Okay. That's fine.
No. Yep. So yeah, just doing a roll call on the motion here for the approval of minutes, and you're up. Is that an aye or a
Aye.
negative? Aye. And did we get Tom on board here?
No, I just sent him something to say unmute yourself.
Yeah. Looks like he lip synced aye, but either way, I think we have a majority of the aye on the approvals anyways. Any abstentions? Okay. Motion passes to approve the draft minutes from March 9th. Public comment. Is there any public comment? Do we have anybody lined up? I don't believe we do. Just public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none, close out the public comment and on to item 4 on our agenda, which is the Community Senior Center project. First up is an update from Colliers.
Good evening. Matt Burns Jacobson for the record from Colliers. Just a quick update. Project went out to bid, was posted on DAS and the Advanced Plan Room, Reprographic Plan Room on March 24th. About a week later, a little over a week later, we held a virtual pre-bid meeting. I know Brian Addy attended, as well as actually we had about 90 participants, 90. So there was a lot of good attendance at that meeting. I think everybody found it quite useful. We walked through as much of the site as we could. Ahead of that meeting, I went on site and took a bunch of photos and videos around the exterior of the building, as well as a few from various rooms within the building, and posted those all, as well as located them on plans. And we showed people how to use those on the Skype meeting, as well as just some general review of project description. Went through each of the alternates one by one, as well as walked through the phasing plan with everybody. Did our best to answer questions along the way, but obviously people will need to submitting submitting via written email. We also we adapted in the moment to do a sign-in, but like I said, we got about 90 participants, and just walking through that sign-in sheet, looks like we had about 20 GCs, so that's pretty good attendance specifically for GCs. I think that's kind of a broad overview on the pre-bid site meeting, but I think it went pretty well. The next thing up on the project is we have right now the bid due date is April 23rd at 2 p.m. We're working currently on putting together the right strategy for collecting those bids and doing it as publicly as possible. I know that there are a couple other bids, public bids going on in Colliers last week and this week. So I'm going to touch base with a few people from my office to see what they've been doing, what they've learned from those. And then I'll start to work with Rocco and put together some thoughts as to how we may revise that, just given the circumstances. Along those same lines, Rocco and I have received 2 official requests to extend the bid deadline. in speaking with Kurt as well as with Rocco prior to this meeting, we feel that it seems as though it's a good market out there for the moment. Obviously, things change on an hourly or daily basis. But given those requests and what some other GCs are saying, it seems as though their subcontractors are having some difficulty keeping up with some of the time. And so we would recommend a 1 week shift or pushback of that bid due date, but wanted to hear what the committee felt. Obviously, there's a few contractors and architect on the board, and you guys are seeing things as well. So would like to hear your thoughts.
Definitely push it. We're slammed. Almost every job that we're bidding on right now got shoved up, got pushed a week, and it's the next big one is coming up in 2 days. A lot of schoolwork out there still bidding.
So currently we're what, 2 weeks away from the deadline roughly, or 10 days, right?
Yeah, the current date is 23rd, so 10 days.
Okay. So how does that affect us as far as it obviously compresses the review time, but I think we could still, as long as we can still meet the deadline of getting it to recommending it to the town council for May 4th or whatever that day is. That's really what we're up against.
You'd probably have to put it out for 2 weeks to the town council. Because if the bids come in on April 30th, you only have 2 days or 3 days, including Saturday, Sunday. So the next council meeting would be the 18th.
May 18th.
Yeah. Which seems more realistic of getting the bid out, getting the bid review. Because the agenda would have to go out that same Thursday. And there will be a need for a presentation to the town council on how the project looks. You know, Rocco would have to bring some of his drawings in and show it off and so on. So I'd say you could probably prepare better for the 18th than the 4th.
I hate to lose those 2 weeks though. 2 weeks is a lot right now.
What?
Well,
What's
you
the
lose
original
2 weeks
start
to
date?
gain a week on bidding.
Well, let me ask you this, Sal. What did you have? What did you have that was coming up this week?
I've got JFK school going up. That's massive. And I've got 3 more behind that, smaller projects, but I may have to drop out of 2 of them.
Yeah.
Because they're bidding.
I mean, I know my bid calendar is pretty full. I mean, I got 4 this week, probably 3 next week. But I mean, I don't. There is a lot of coverage because I can tell you I must have 15 guys at a minimum that have asked me to quote this thing.
Yeah.
Meaning Rocky, meaning the senior center. So obviously the coverage is good. What's back to Colliers? What is the pushback, and how many guys are you getting that are saying that they can't cover it by next week? Or it's actually the week after, right? The 23rd, because I think the 21st is the 21st next Friday.
No, 23rd is next Thursday, Tom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not for nothing, but I don't think I've ever had a bid come back where 1 or 2 contractors hasn't asked for a bid extension.
Yeah, you're always going to, right? You're
always going to get somebody wanting to. Are you going to extend bids? You're going to extend bids. So
right.
If you feel it's enough time, I think we should just go with it.
Go with what? Go with the extension or?
No,
No.
go with the original date.
I would tend to agree on this one.
What was the original start date of construction, Matt? I don't remember the schedule.
based upon our current schedule, we're aiming to mobilize construction on May 11th.
I'm sorry, on what?
May 11th.
So you would lose approximately a week and a half.
Is it possible to look at moving it to Tuesday, the whatever day that is, the 30, that'd be the 31st, right? Or no? What am I looking at?
28th,
7th?
The
The
28th.
the 28th,
28th.
giving them 4 days, and then that gives us the rest of that week to review, and we can do like a Friday special PVC meeting. And then it can be on the docket for Monday's council meeting.
I think that'd be a fair compromise.
What about Monday?
Contractors don't like Mondays.
Yeah,
Not too
Monday
many-
sucks.
Putting out too many fires.
Town staff doesn't like Friday meetings.
Oh, you're talking about for the special PVC?
No, have the bids come in so we could have that special meeting on a Thursday.
Yeah, we could. Why couldn't we?
I think the Tuesdays, I mean, how much time do we need to review the bids? I mean, the numbers, it's not like it's a qualifications-based proposal. So, unless there's a reason we don't want that low bidder, or we have an issue with the low bidder with prior experience or whatever issues we have, I mean, you gotta go with them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not that big of a, we're not doing huge scope reviews on this because it's low bid, but you do want to go through it and make sure that everybody's got everything correct, that everything, we'll open the bids that day and find and read out everything that we got, but then you got to go through all the paperwork and make sure everybody submitted everything right, and that you don't have anybody that you want to look closer at if they're not qualified or not. So that's the big thing.
What about either Monday at 2 or Tuesday at 10? The contractors don't like morning bids?
I think a Tuesday at 2:00 would be fine. I think that when you issue an addendum to postpone it, you can just put a notice in there that the apparent low bidder is expected to be at a scope review on Wednesday afternoon or something. We'll schedule or Thursday afternoon, and then we can have our special meeting on Thursday. I don't like the Monday bid idea. Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday at 2, 10 o'clock if you really have to, but to me, that doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
2 o'clock Tuesday bid review on Thursday. Can Colliers decipher enough to give us the just a summary of your concerns or suggestions by the Thursday afternoon?
From Tuesday? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna take the numbers that day when we get them all in and put them into a evaluation spreadsheet. So we'll have everything leveled at that point, and then it's a matter of going through everything for Wednesday and Thursday. So depending on what's going on that week, we can probably get it done so that on Thursday we could have a recommendation. Certainly.
Have we asked? Excuse me. Have we in the bid form? Originally, when we talked, we were talking about asking for the people to name at least 2 of the names, maybe 3 names per the major trades, the 5 major trades. Did we go through with that? Or are we just getting a straight lump sum?
It's a straight lump sum, but we have requested the name and lump sum dollar value associated with several trades.
The primaries, right?
Yeah, essentially the primary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That'll tell a lot too, right there.
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
That ended up being a little bit of a, you do that, Massachusetts does the whole filed sub-bid thing, which is very specific and prescriptive for what the scope is for that bidder. So it's easy for them to put their number in. Whereas here, when we're just asking the GCs for the names of the 5 primes, call it, they're coming back and saying, well, what's the scope that I'm asking them to put a number in for? Because the specs don't specifically call out scope for like the HVAC sub, for instance. It's on the drawings, but it doesn't say this is specifically your scope, Mr. HVAC contractor. So
I'm more interested in names.
or hopefully we're going to get the numbers.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
hopefully that's
interested
all
in
we get.
numbers. You know, for the numbers, and you can name 2 or 3 because you don't want to lock the guy into just one person, just like a filed sub bid. You got to give him some room to negotiate and allow that person to go through the GC to go through the sub's scope to make sure he was covered on whatever number he carried that bid day. I just want to know who the 2 or 3 is on the primes, like your mechanical, your electrical, your site and steel. Those are the guys that'll run that job.
We've asked.
Masonry on the job is
We've asked for
just
site.
veneer.
We've asked for site, steel, fire protection, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical.
So, you know, the names to me would be a lot more important than how much money he assigned to that, because they're going to play a little bit of games with the numbers anyway for schedule values regardless. So it doesn't really matter.
We've asked them for it. We've asked them for the name. So hopefully, you know, they fill out the bid form that way. I'm assuming they will. I mean, it's not, you know, we have it on the bid form, so it's a requirement.
Okay.
I don't think it's a requirement to the point where, yeah, we'll have to look at it once we get it. If somebody doesn't name one of the subs, you know, we can go back and have them. It's not something we need to kick them out for.
Right.
But it's something we can go back and say, hey, you know, you made a small error on your bid form. You got to add that guy in.
Okay.
Now, is it clear, or have you stated to them that they are allowed to name more than one subcontractor?
I don't think we put in there that you have to name more than one.
I think that we should make a general statement that you are allowed to name up to 3 contractors, because I don't like being tied down to one contractor, and knowing 3 would be good to. I mean, because since we're starting so quickly, you don't have time to mess around with bringing in an outside company.
That works really well in private work, but how does that work in public work? You can't really dictate who they're going to use, right? In public work? I mean, no, privately you can.
No, but it's good to know going in what we might be dealing with.
Well, if they list 3, who do we know that, how do we know which one they're using for that's included in their bid? Or are we just saying, well, one of these 3 you're going to include in your bid? Like we've asked them, who are you including in your bid for these 5 trades?
Yeah.
You know, that way you know who they're doing it, as opposed to having them list several in each trade, because we wouldn't know who they're including, and I don't know how to evaluate it that way. You know what I mean? There's no way there's no way to fairly evaluate that, and somebody could bid protest if you had so many questions related to their bid, whereas we're trying to keep any questions out of the mix, but also give you what you want, which is give me the names of the primes you're carrying in your bid.
And if there's something reasonable that happens, you know, where a subcontractor, a contractor that's named on here needs to change for some reason, then, you know, obviously that's understandable and can be reviewed with the GC when they identify it.
Are you bringing them in?
It's locking anybody into anything, but more just identifying who is being currently held by that GC.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because I've run into this situation before. Like you were saying, we're not tied into a specific scope. So you're going to get guys that are going to name HVAC guys or electricians that are just doing the electrical, but they're not doing fire alarm or security, or they end up chopping up the scope in such a way that there's ways to play around with it. So I don't know, you know, site work, they could be listing the guy that's just doing the utilities, or you don't know how they're doing it. So
there's the intent of all this is to just simply get a flavor for who they're planning on going with. We're not here to decipher their bid pricing structure. It's a lump sum low bid. It's a public job, but it'd be nice to know there are 5 or 6 primes that you pointed out, because if we could see the writing on the wall that we know we're going to start off with somebody who's bad news that we're well aware of, and that's part of the advantage to having some of us that sit on this committee to say, hey, this guy's trouble. What can we do to help guide the contractor to make a better deal with somebody else without
Right.
breaking any rules? I don't know all the rules to this, but you know, that's going to be key. That was key to the intermediate school, was we got real lucky with your 5 major primes. We had really good primes over there that knew how to push the job along and give us the quality as well. So
One question. We're not asking the GC to list the dollar value of the sub, correct? We're only asking them to list the sub.
No, we have asked for the
You have asked for the dollar value?
that's included within the base bid.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we could drop that piece out. I mean, that piece isn't really all that, to Sal's point, not that important. It's really just who are the 5 primes you're carrying for your specific bid. That way
Yeah,
we know who they're
I
carrying
think
versus somebody else.
And I think if you did that, because that's the way on these types of bids that I customarily see it, is that they, they'll ask who the primes are, unless you're on a state bid where they're asking you the dollar value to list your sub, your sub dollar value. But on these, most of the time on a municipal job, they're not asking you for the dollar value of the sub. Now you're locking them into, at least we're going to know what sub they're planning on using, as opposed to listing multiple guys. I want to know, are these guys grabbing a low baller? And if they aren't, let them list it. So I know that they are running with a low ball guy.
Right.
That may be out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I would feel more confident if we took the dollar value out. If you're going to tie him into a contractor, tie him into a contractor, but the dollar value without a full scope review of that subcontractor at the 11th hour, it's kind of a moot point. So.
Right, and then it gives them the flexibility to do what they need to do, moving dollars out.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
We can revise that. Sure.
And John, how are these going to be open on live on air? Not in public, right?
That's what I was alluding to a little bit earlier. We're not all going to be sitting in the town council chambers, but Colliers has a few bids that have been going, during this time period where everybody's virtual. So I'm going to check in with them and hear what they did and how that went, and use that to put together, a strategy for us for now. It looks like we're looking at April 28th at 2, and put out what that plan is.
We were thinking of opening the bids and recording it in the back of the council chamber at that table, and post the video on the town website next to the bid that's listed out there on the website. Do it that way, because we don't really have any state money involved, so it's basically the town's doing it. So it's similar to other times when we go in there and it's just the town staff and we open it up and that's it. But we're just thinking that way, because we have another bid coming up this week. I think we're going to try it that way as well.
So it'll be recorded. It'll be recorded. It won't be live, John.
Right. Yeah.
Why wouldn't we just do it live? I mean, all the towns I know, we're doing it live right now, doing either Zoom or they're doing it through Google Meets or Skype, where they actually have 1 or 2 town people in the room opening it. And then they just read it aloud into the camera. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's possible, but it's just a delay. That's about all. As I say, well, in the past, we usually don't have many contractors in there. They just call up for the final numbers.
Oh, okay.
We could do that, but then how many people, I guess that's more of a John Murphy question on what are we gonna do? It's gonna be myself and maybe one other person, as well as Matt and Rocco, if they can. We're getting up to 4 people in a room, so that's pushing it. But that would be about it.
Good
I
time.
wouldn't allow them to, I wouldn't allow them to call in. You know, I mean, once you open them, I mean, usually like with the town of West Hartford, what'll happen is they'll have their bid opening. If you happen to be there, and then what they'll do is they'll post the bid results subsequently after they have a chance to, if you will, review them and vet them, and then they'll post the bid results.
Yeah, and when we're there, we could do it, you know, depending on if we're there or if we're doing it through Skype. John, we can help. We'll record them, obviously, and we can put the form together, the bid results, and give it to you so you can post that. That way, you know, it takes the work out of your hands, and we're putting it on our form and then just giving you that.
Yeah, if you guys want to put together what you did for the walkthrough, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna do it through the town stuff, that was our easiest option to do, because it should only take a few minutes.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long. But I expect to get upwards of 10 bids in here. I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels like the climate now, everybody's bidding like crazy. So we're going to get probably a good amount of bids.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would think you're going to get in excess of 10, probably get around 15.
Yeah.
I mean, for
Maybe.
what the amount that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
guess
if you want to put together that Skype like you did last time, that's fine. And we'll do it in the council chamber. It's been sanitized. And we got masks.
Yeah, like I said, I'll circle back with a few people at Colliers and see how they've been doing it. And we'll come up with the best plan for, as we're all trying to deal with this. I think there's different options to make sure that, we're meeting all the requirements.
And you guys can work out the language or the details to put in the addenda as to dropping off the bids, because I've seen it differently. Boxes outside the town hall. The problem is we have a few different entrances to the town hall, so making sure that we have coverage at those entrances or however you're going to do it, but work.
You gotta make sure you say by the entrance near the fountain.
Yeah, everybody knows where that fountain is.
Even though it's gonna be moved. That radical idea.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
Right.
Okay,
So
so
Matt-
you're moving it to April 28th at 2:00.
Right.
A scope review on April 30th at a certain time. And then a special PBC meeting at a certain time in the afternoon. Is that the plan?
Should we look at doing the scope review on the Wednesday in case an issue comes up with the scope review that we can bring the next bidder in the following day or morning? Or we should just tell the low 3 bidders to be available for Wednesday or whatever?
Couldn't hurt.
It's up to Colin. You guys are running the scope review, so whatever you guys think you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I would say that aiming to do that, giving us Wednesday to be able to review those in a little bit more detail and meet with someone on Wednesday morning would probably be best.
Where are you gonna do the scope
We'd really be
review?
crunching it.
Where are you gonna do the scope review?
We could do it over Zoom. We could do it over Skype. I don't think there's anything that you would necessarily need to do in person.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to own plans and specs anyway, so.
Yep.
We don't have to go through that in detail. It's probably more of their understanding of the schedule and their overall handle of what the project requires.
Agreed.
So will you put all that information into the next addendum for the bid And the scope review logins and so on?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else on the postponement topic? Matt, you
Oh,
have anything?
Matt, just adjust your schedule. The elections was moved from April to June 2nd.
Oh, okay. And does that still, yeah, that shouldn't really matter, I guess, because the town's still going to be utilizing and accessing the gym. It'll just be from a limited capacity.
You think they can enter
Till
by
November.
the fountain side?
That's where they'll be able to enter and exit.
Yeah. So all the Bernie Sanders voters can make it?
All right, June 2nd.
All right, Matt, continue.
Sorry, just jotting a note down. I think those are the big items. We'll be at our special meeting when we review the GCs and looking for award. I'll be presenting a special inspection proposal as well as material testing proposal. So we wanted to get one of these virtual meetings under our belt. And then the next meeting we'll be doing that. So look for those to come ahead of time as well. I think besides the invoices, that wraps up what I had for a general update, project update. Any questions for me?
So we were provided in our packet, just an updated financial status, milestone schedule and a project schedule. Anything on those to go over?
No, I think we touched upon the schedule. We talked about the bid due date shift. Otherwise, everything's in line, although a couple of those things will domino effect a little bit from that, but not very much at all. From a financial standpoint, the only differences between last month and this month are the invoices that you guys are going to be reviewing. So there's nothing unexpected by any means. It's things that we've been planning for, and everything's on budget. So.
Anybody have any questions for Colliers?
Maybe before you move forward, do you want to have the official vote to move to those new dates? Is there a need to? You did opening from the 23rd to the 28th, the scope review on the 30th, and that's about it. Then a special meeting on the 30th, but we can set that later.
Yeah, I don't believe we have to vote on it. Unless somebody thinks we need to. I'd say no.
I'll remember that.
Yeah, it doesn't impact our approval date, so I think we're good there. But let's see. Yeah, if it had an impact to the project schedule, I would probably have to agree. But anything else for Matt or Kurt?
Oh, thanks.
All right. Moving on to QA&M Architects. Rocco, any updates for us?
And Matt pretty much covered it all pretty well. We've had 2 addendas go out. Haven't had any major questions. They've all been pretty minor, mostly finishes, mostly some small inconsistencies in some of the coordination as far as like structural, some MEP, that type of thing. But nothing that's been crazy out of the ordinary.
Okay. Have you guys, have you had feedback from bidders? Have they walked the site on the perimeter from the outside? Have you talked to anybody that has?
I haven't talked to anybody that's actually been there yet. I know there are several of them that were asking me if they could go.
Yeah.
A lot of them were that I've talked to are pretty happy with the way the pre-bid meeting went. They've been, asked a couple of questions about the files and where they are, but nothing crazy about that. And I've talked to a couple other GCs that are, real excited to bid this. So.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for our architect? Questions? All right. Thank you, Rocco. Next item of business, item number 5, is the setting of our special meeting. So John, does Thursday, the April 30th, does that give us enough time to send out the formal notice?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody, you guys have any issues with, you guys prefer to do 5:30, 6 o'clock? What do you prefer?
For Thursday, the 30th?
Yeah.
At your house, Brian?
Oh, yeah.
The deck furniture be out
Yeah.
at 5:30 or earlier?
5:30 works if we're still doing it by Zoom.
Yeah. Anybody opposed to 5:30 on Thursday, the 30th? John, do you need a formal vote for this, or are you all set?
No, I think we're all set.
Okay.
So just to recap, just so I understand, 28th is the bid at 2 o'clock. Scope review the 29th. 30th, we make a recommendation for the town council.
Yep.
All
Thank you.
right. Correspondence or communications, John, do you have anything for us?
Nothing.
Okay. And bill payment recommendations. So in our packet, we have 6 invoices from 5 different vendors. Somebody wants to go ahead and make the motions?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll make a motion that we approve Quisenberry Arcari Malix invoice number 12524 in the amount of $187,959.89.
I have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sal. Any discussion? Discussion? Any discussion? All right, hearing none. I'll do a roll call vote here. Sal?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
And Tom?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Only 4 more times we got to go through this here. Let's see. BVH invoice. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, make a motion to approve BVH invoice number 2119183.00-3 in the amount of $3,050.
A motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sal. Any discussion? Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. Sal, call to vote.
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
Aye.
And Tom. All right.
Aye. Yeah.
Let's
I'll
see. Good.
Make a motion to approve Collier's project leaders invoice number 005456 in the amount of $9,275.
Have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sal. Any discussion? Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. Call the vote. Sal?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Todd with D, with a D, double D.
Aye.
And Tom.
Aye.
All right. Go ahead, Tom.
Make a motion to approve Eagle Environmental invoice 18058 in the amount of $2,500.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sal. Discussion? Any discussion? Discussion? Hearing none. Call to vote. Sal?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
And Tom?
Aye.
All right. You want to lump these last two together?
I'll lump them together. I make a motion to approve two key invoices, invoice 2020009 in the amount of 3,500 and 2020010 in the amount of $3,000 for a total of $6,500.
I have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sal. Any discussion? Discussion?
Yes.
Discussion?
Who are they? What do they represent again? Keys Group.
Our estimating consultant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What is he on a lump sum contract? I don't remember. Are we paying him by his services?
Yeah, each phase had a lump sum attached to it. This is for the DD and CD respectively estimating efforts. So this will wrap up his contract.
Okay. What was his total contract again? Do you remember?
I don't
You have that near you?
It was 10,000 total off
Okay.
my head. 10,500.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. I'll call the vote. Sal?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Todd?
Aye.
And Tom?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, I think this meeting went pretty well, and this is going to be the same format for our special meeting on the 30th. So at this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Before
motion
you
by
go,
Todd.
do you guys rather get an electronic copy of the packet as opposed to a
Yeah.
delivery at the house?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, save the paper.
Yep,
Electronic.
So-
vote.
Does that
electronic.
work well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one last question, will we get the spreadsheet the same day of the bid opening? Electronically, something, without having to watch the meeting or the opening?
We'll do our best. If I don't get it out that same night, I'll get it to you the next morning first thing.
That's fine.
Hey, John, do you know if the IT department will send out another Outlook invite similar to what we had tonight for those dates?
I believe so. John can confirm if he's still there.
Yeah, this is John Murphy. The invite will be different for each meeting,
Thank you.
kind of a security thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll confirm, like I did today, day of, with each of the members to confirm that they received the email. Anything else? I think Tom made a motion to adjourn. Sal with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Meeting is adjourned at 6:23. Take care.
Good night.
Thanks.
Aye.
Bye.